Well, she's being debanked by Scotiabank.
This is, to me, is a threat, because if I'm not allowed as a simple citizen to criticize anything that sort of goes a little bit against the narrative or against what you're supposed to think, I feel my freedom of speech has been violated.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at a Scotiabank branch in West End, Toronto. And folks, I ask you this, do you remember the good old days when the big Canadian banks were all about, financial services? And I ponder that question because thanks to wokeness, we increasingly see people losing their bank accounts or having their bank accounts frozen due to, wokeness. Consider what happened in 2022 when thousands of Canadians had their bank accounts frozen just for donating online to the Freedom Convoy. It was a shocking slap in the face.
As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order.
So your account, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there was a CMA under the Measures Act. They required financial institutions to suspend financial services for accounts with large crowdfunding going through towards the protest.
And who is they?
So, this is the federal government. So Premier Justin Trudeau put out an announcement on Monday. I'd encourage you to look into it, but your account was caught up in that Measures Act announcement.
So you guys have not only frozen my account, but suspended my account?
Well, frozen the account for now. We're working on this as well.
Came down here with the Freedom Convoy here in Parliament Hill, Ottawa, and my bank account has gotten frozen.
And you might recall my interview last year with Gary Duke of Grand Prairie, Alberta. He asked a question politely about the Pride multicolor Scotiabank app when it was going to be deleted from his phone, given that they were no longer in Pride Month. And for having the temerity to say that, he was told, that's it, you're done, pack up your accounts and go. And folks, that is the reason why we are here today. Meet my guest. We're going to call her Jane. Jane is not her real name. But Jane, much like Gary Duke in Grand Prairie, Alberta, she's being debanked by Scotiabank. Jane got into a conversation with the management here. They decided that after more than 20 years of banking at this Scotiabank, her business was no longer needed and she was persona non grata. Now, the question is, why? Well, that is a great question indeed, because no reason was given. Jane thinks she has the reason why she was deleted from this bank, and it all has to do with the DEI policy. Namely, Jane had the temerity to say in one of her communiques, why don't you include seniors in that DEI embrace? And apparently, once you start questioning that narrative, you got to go looking for another bank, at least as far as Scotiabank is concerned. Jane, thank you so much for meeting us here. And I should tell the viewers, we did go in to speak to the manager. I've reached out several times by email and phone, no response. I've reached out to the media relations department of Scotiabank Corporate, not even an acknowledgement of my queries. But we did go in to try to get some answers, and we came up short. My name's David Menzies with Rebel News, and we're doing a story. I've reached out to Guy Morin. It's on this lady being debanked from your bank. Wasn't given a reason. She believes the reason might be because she suggested that seniors should be part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion program. Mm-hmm. Ma'am, is there anyone that could come on camera and explain why, for her suggestion of altering the diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, that means she's debanked. She's not a customer anymore.
So I don't know anything regarding the situation.
Okay.
Because I don't get the emails or anything regarding anything from the back office for this branch.
Okay.
As probably this was her home branch before. Her relationship with the bank was closed. So I don't know anything regarding the situation personally.
You know, it is astonishing. I've seen the correspondence back and forth between you and the manager, Guy Morin. Why do you think he is not actually giving you a tangible reason as to why you are not welcome at this bank anymore?
Well, the only thing that I could think about was the fact that I, first of all, criticized the bank because the service is not very good. Like you leave emails, you leave messages. It's also a bank where the rotation of the staff is every 2 or 3 months replaced, managers every 3 years. And when we went in, there's no name tag, so you don't know whom to address. So anyway, I complained about the services and then put it in writing. And one of the things that I mentioned is the fact that seniors like myself, I mean, I do basic computer, but I don't have a cell phone, I don't do any apps, things like that. And when I go in, they tell me, go online. And I say, I'm here specifically. What are you here for? I'm here specifically because I don't know how to do it online.
We were there for 2 reasons. One, to get an explanation why you're persona non grata. And secondly, they still have a small amount of your money. Now, they can't have it both ways. They can't fire you as a customer and then keep your money, right?
Absolutely. And not only that, but I wrote a letter. I was polite. Even I closed the letter by saying, welcome to this bank. I know you have 2 banks, so it's a lot of work.
I read your letters, and they're very polite, but my goodness, you're being treated as though you're some kind of a con woman or you've got links to a terrorist organization.
Yes, and the higher bureau that I send a copy to, escalating the things, they say, well, they can do that. They don't have to give you a reason. So go and look in your agreement. Well, 1998, I signed the opening agreement. Do you think I still have it? No. And the headquarters did not want to give me a copy. They say, go to the bench, which we did today. And she doesn't know either. I asked him, can I get a copy of that? Because it was probably a standard agreement. And he says, go to your branch. So I'm here at the branch, following directions.
Right.
And so would you be able to have that agree what people signed in 1998 when they opened the power checking account?
So I would have to get somebody who can go in and look at it, right? Because, like I said, I'm honestly here just for 2 days.
Now, I have a statement here from Guy Morin. He wrote it to you on April 30th of this year. And part of that statement reads, quote, after careful consideration, the Bank of Nova Scotia has decided to end our relationship with you. We understand it will take time for you to make arrangements with another financial institution. Therefore, we are providing you this advance notice of the date on which each of your accounts and other products/services will be closed. Our decision complies with the conditions in the agreements you have with us, end quote. It's a vicious circle, isn't it? They won't actually say what condition you broke. But you know, Jane, we went into the bank. In fact, outside the bank, I see, they still have the Pride propaganda on the window. Look on the Pride side. We're halfway through August almost. Pride ended in June, and yet you see Pride flags everywhere, Pride posters, etc., etc. Are they just so down in their wokeism about, I guess, the rainbow community that even to ask questions about it, like you did and like Gary Duke did in Alberta, off with their heads?
Yes, and it's... And not only that, but the hypocrisy is he wrote that letter. First of all, wrote a letter to my deceased husband, too, which shows you that they don't know their customers. Secondly, he said, we're here to help you do the transition. The number he gave, I had friends phone it. It doesn't correspond to anything. And then the headquarters said, what's in the system? And that's another criticism I had, is that the card that was given to me did not say manager, it said securities, so they don't update the information either, which is all part of customer service.
And by the way, Jane, where are you moving your banking? Or maybe you don't want to answer that question in case these institutions share information, kind of like the casinos in Las Vegas do with card cheaters. Maybe you want to keep that quiet.
Absolutely, because now I'm scared. So I'm going to be, even though I'm a person that if I see something is wrong, I speak out. I speak out in a constructive manner, because if you don't speak up, if something is wrong, you're going to live in a society of sheep. Not only that, but of mediocrity. Okay, if the system has to be bettered, and if you can't do that, then that's pathetic. I mean, this is supposed to be a democratic country. And so I don't want to give my name, because who knows, maybe that I'm going to be blacklisted.
And you know what? Once upon a time, I would say, oh, come on, you're being paranoid. But after what happened in 2022, when you had law-abiding, tax-paying, honest Canadian citizens just giving to an online fund to help support the truckers, and suddenly they had their bank accounts frozen for nothing. And make no mistake, the banks, like the insurance companies, could have pushed back against the Justin Trudeau Liberals, but they didn't. They complied like sheep.
Yes, and it's continuing at all levels. I mean, he's voting in, C11, C63, where if you say something and somebody's going to complain, you won't have any rights to even being heard. You can be fined. I mean, what is this?
You know what? You're so right, Jane. Well, look, if anyone at their office or the branch or media relations gets back in touch with me, we'll do an update to this story. I think this is outrageous and egregious. And, you know, folks, Jane was mentioning all those censorship bills, as my boss Ezra Levent has said. 2024 is the year of censorship, isn't it? Both official and unofficial and commercial. I mean, imagine making a polite suggestion about the DEI policy, and you get debanked. And by the way, speaking of Ezra and Rebel News, I gotta say, don't forget what happened to us in December of 2021. We were looking at purchasing some Calgary real estate for our office there. We were approved by a Calgary Royal Bank of Canada manager, and when it went through just to get rubber stamped at Toronto's head office, we were declined. Did it have anything to do with Rebel's financial wherewithal, our credit rating, anything like that? No, they just didn't like our editorial bent. Can you imagine? This is outrageous censorship, and it needs to end. For Rebel News, I'm David Menzies. Folks, I know you love it when Rebel News tells you the other side of the story, but the fact is we need your help. Unlike the mainstream media, we do not receive a nickel of government funding, nor would we ask for it. Please go to rebelfieldreports.com. That's rebelfieldreports.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation.